Instruction, golf news, equipment, travel, interviews, course profiles, and more. Your weekly fix of all things golf is about to begin. It's the Flagstick Podcast with your hosts, Jeff Potter and Scott McLeod. All right, everybody, welcome into the Flagstick Podcast. I'm Jeff Potter. As always, he is Scott McLeod. And this week, the podcast is brought to you by our good friends at Golf PEI. Golf Prince Edward Island is a premier Canadian golf destination, boasting the most number of golf courses per capita in the country, with over 400 fairways closer than you can imagine, top-tier accommodations, and exquisite culinary experiences. It is the easiest golf vacation you will ever book. So book the vacations at golfpei.ca. Check us out across all social media networks, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Facebook. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. And be sure to subscribe to that YouTube channel. You're missing out if you're not. Like us, click the notification bell. Make sure you never miss a single episode of this podcast or any of the other great stuff that we happen to put up there. Well, on the show...
Yes,
on the show, we're gonna chat about golf challenges, golf course service, and golf nightmares. And we're not talking about the kind of nightmares that you lay down in bed and have you're falling down an abyss. And although you're right, yeah, it could be those kinds of nightmares if that's the kind of nightmare that we all suffer through a lot of the
golf trauma.
Call it. Let's call it golf. The blanket term for it will be golf trauma. We all suffer through golf trauma, so we're going to talk about it a little bit. We do like to talk golf on the podcast. So the season's just kind of getting going, right? So
and a lot of these topics really come from conversations, and I was around,
which we love having.
Yeah, and I was around a couple different golf courses in the last little while, just talking to a lot of golfers, getting out. And these are some things that sort of came up and they've sort of led to some topics here. So shout out to some of those people that I was chatting with, by the way, who are listeners. So they know who they are. So, yeah.
Well, let's get into a little bit there, Scott. I guess we can get right into the front nine, presented by Metcalfe Golf Club. A natural setting, a pleasant challenge. Golf season's here. Wide open. I know Metcalfe opened last week. So it really is time to start planning your golf season. Golf at Metcalfe is a great place to start. So you can get yourself on a wait list for a membership. You can join one of the leagues or get on a wait list for a league. Participate in many events that take place there, or save some money on your season of golf with their very popular game passes. Visit metcalfegolf.com for all of that great stuff.
So you mentioned they're open. I would say peak week. This is peak week.
This is it.
If you check the calendar, this is the week where we flip from.
It's bursting with flavor.
Oh my!
Calendar is bursting with flavor.
More golf courses will be open as of this week in Eastern Ontario and Western Quebec, then will be closed. So this is where cresting.
Yes.
Some of them, it varies from conditions. Let's just say that right now, based on things like rain and so forth that we had in various areas. But I'm starting to hear players that are, been out, got 3-4 games in, starting to visit different areas. Yeah, it's good. And I popped out to Smugglers on Sunday, hit a little bucket.
Nice.
Got a few putts in, had a few conversations. Yeah, it was kind of cool. It wasn't the best weather, and I will say I did get a couple of invites to go out and hey, come play 9 holes or whatever. Didn't quite have the time, but it was nice to breathe fresh air, hit the ball in the air. Saw a few people from Ottawa area, which is nice. A couple of golf pros, couple people that we interact with online and stuff like that. That was nice to see. Have some of those conversations, and it's just it's here. So
this is kind of a this is the most exciting time of the golf season. It really is. I mean, we have our golf vacations and we have our our fun tournaments and fun boys weekends or girls weekends or family weekends that we have playing golf, but this is the right now is the most exciting for me anyway. This is the most
Yeah.
exciting time of year because there's so much buzz, there's so much excitement, there's so much jubilation. Because nobody's played around a golf to speak of yet, so they have no expectations as to what's going to happen. So a month from now, a month and a half from now is when everybody starts complaining about how bad they are.
Yeah, exactly.
How they're why am I hooking it or why am I slicing it?
Yeah.
Why can't I get the ball more in the air? I need to practice more. I should take a lesson. And yes, you should do all those things. But
Yeah.
right now, it's like calm,
Yeah, it is.
exciting. I
Yeah.
want to play. I'm
Yeah.
enjoying. I can't look at my new shoes. Look at I got my new driver that I got, and I've been hitting it. I've been hitting it at the in the sim, and I've been crushing it. Can't wait to get out and see what that bad boy looks like when that ball gets airborne outside. It's before everything happens, so this
Mm.
is
Yeah, this is the
exciting.
time. Yeah, as you said, we get the Masters over here in Canada. Golf courses get open. People get to, consider their, their routines that they really love.
Hmm.
Maybe that's part of it too. It's sort of those traditions, and I think that's the part of it. I don't know if it changes or not. I mean, I look back. I mean, I played golf for 45 years now, which is hard to believe if I'm saying that since
Years.
I was 10 or whatever. But I look, and this is what I was considering this week. I'm thinking, what's the part of the start of the season that kind of gets you excited, and does that change? I mean, I know for me it maybe changed a little bit from when I was a teenager to maybe now or whatever, but there's still a lot of things that sort of hang on. They're
Hmm.
sort of the same feelings and thread. And I mean, I got that from, just going out and seeing those golf balls fly in the air. And as you said,
Hmm.
I was in Puerto Rico a month ago and I
It's
hit
not the
balls.
same.
It's not the same because it's just
No.
like you're kind of in a situation that is sort of, it doesn't seem like reality. You're just off doing that or whatever. But it's when you're back at your, in your home area, when you're 20 minutes from the house, and you go to the
Yeah.
familiar range and you hit the shots and stuff like that. And granted, I hit maybe 25 balls, a bunch of wedges and a few 8 irons or whatever, but it was just like, it's just that impact, that sound, that feel, that just, and it is sensory as well. I think
Oh yeah.
it's hearing the sounds of golf. It's the chatter, it's the,
It's everything
people
going
buzz.
on around you.
Yeah, it's
It's
the
not
people buzzing
you.
back and forth. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
heard
it's
the
those
guys.
conversations you said about having those conversations
Right.
with people
Yeah.
that you know or don't know that just combine, they're chatting and it's I had a little bit of that this week. I popped into Golf Town, train
Yep.
yards there in Ottawa, just to poke around, see what's what, see if there's any deals. Um, like I need anything
Like
anyway,
you need
but
more. Like you need more gear.
yeah, like I don't need anything. I'm still waiting for stuff to come, so I probably don't need much. But I like to poke in and just be around a little bit. And
Sure.
of
Yep.
course, I walk in. I mean, I've got whatever flagstick clothing
Yep.
I've got on when I'm out and about during the day. And someone's like, "Hey, flagstick, what's going on? This and that." And you start having a conversation, and then they
Right.
say, "What do you think of this new thing?" It's like, well, you
Mm.
give a little opinion here and there, and you
Yep.
try not to step on the toes of the beautiful salespeople
Yeah.
that are
Are
at some of these
enthusiastic.
retail. Yeah.
What
Um,
what is it for you? I mean, you go and you go to that store and you kind of do that thing, but if you think back to when you started playing, and it wasn't that much prior to when we first met, and people should realize that we've known each other for almost 40 years now. So, yeah, exactly. So, it may have changed for you when you're taking those first steps and going out and, batting around at Bell Park and whatever.
Bell Park.
What
We're
is it
near
for
Bell
you?
Park now.
No,
Uh,
but what is it for you then and now that
it's
is the motivation?
well, there's for me, it's kind of a combination of things. I usually start off the season now um, with some new gear,
Okay.
and I kind of get a little bit excited about the new gear arrives about this time.
Mhm.
There's been an
Taking those
anticipation.
plastic wrappers
Yeah, I
off.
think you're peeling the plastic. Although I wish they wouldn't put the damn plastic on the grips. That's so annoying.
Yeah, it is.
Um, but peeling it off, bringing my
Yep.
golf bag in from the garage and
Hmm.
putting it in my office and taking some of the old stuff out and putting some of the new stuff in and loading a dozen balls in there, making sure the tees are. That's why I was in GT there. Is I get
Grab some
my bag
teas.
my bag 100, and that
Hmm.
usually does me for the better part of the year. So I'm loading up the tees and making sure, I don't carry a rangefinder because I'm a traditionalist and I have good eyes. That's not why I don't have a rangefinder. Um, I can't be bothered, to be honest with you. Everybody I'm playing with has
Lazy.
one, so I just say, "Hey,
Yeah, can I use
what
yours?
do you got?
What do you got?
What do you got?" That's my thing. If I'm standing
It's like
beside the 150, I'm like,
yeah.
okay, I'm
It's like
about 150. The pin's in the middle. Okay, so I'm gonna
yeah.
take off. I'm gonna add five. I'm gonna take off five. Okay, this is
Yeah.
what I got.
It's like it's like borrowing a cottage. It's like, hey,
Yeah,
why do we need a cottage? Everyone else has got one. So why do
exactly.
we need
That's
a
my
rangefinder? Everyone
philosophy.
else has got one. Okay, yeah,
Someone wants to
keep
give
going.
me a rangefinder, I'll put it in my bag. I probably still won't use it, but who knows? Um, but there's that part for me, and you get the bag
Right.
already. But then I don't want to do that too early anymore because
Mm.
the way the weather was this year, a lot of people are getting all that excitement going, and then we get snow,
Yeah.
and then we get crap loads of rain, and you're delayed by another week and another week. So for me, I wait until it's happening. Like
Mm.
for us, we got the course calendar, opening
Yep.
calendar. So I know what's going on when things are opening. You start to say, okay, now I'm starting to get excited. So new gear is a big thing for me, and then just that first round. Like I'm going to the
Mm.
range for me. I guess I probably should go to the range before I go to the course, just to kind of see what's what. But the course is right across the street, and
It's not mandatory.
no, and I can get
Yeah.
out for 4 or 5 holes after 7 o'clock at night now. So
Yeah.
it's I haven't done it yet. I haven't had my first round. I haven't hit a bucket yet. I've hit wedges at the side of the yard, and I have
Hmm.
the hitting area around here.
I would suggest too, it's probably a little bit different too, because you've got a a son who plays golf,
Mhm.
and it's the anticipation of going and having those rounds
Yeah.
and sharing that stuff with them as well. I mean, I know when my daughter was home for a little bit, I'm off to get her today from university, but she was home for a little bit of a gap, and we tucked in a couple of sim rounds. And it was on her schedule though, which
Yes.
university schedule is not great. When all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, it's 10 o'clock. Can we go play some sim golf?" And you're like, "Oh God, I'm going to get done at 1 o'clock in the morning." But whatever the case, it reminded me of like, yeah, that's part of the fun now is sharing it and sharing it, family, friends, all that aspect of it as well. I mean,
Hmm.
that's part of that element. As we said, it's such a social game, that it's seeing those faces, it's seeing the other
Yeah.
golf people that it's going to the club and seeing your GM or your pro shop staff and seeing how their winter was, and that same aspect of it that just makes it that much more fun. So
Well, I mean, in the old days, I used to really get up for just jumping in the van back then, and I was
mhm.
driving around from course to course. I mean, I was going and seeing course owners and manager stuff in the middle of winter,
Sure.
setting things up for the golf season and doing the business side. Well, circumstances have changed a lot for me in the personal world,
Yeah.
and those just random go wherever interactions are not as easily come by for me, so
Hmm.
they're very few and far between. I do a
Yeah.
lot of business over the phone. I do a lot of business close by.
Yep.
I don't travel anywhere near as much as I used to, and I'm not on the road 12 hours a
Hmm.
day.
Sure.
So, life has changed for me. So I still miss that kind of stuff. That was always a big part of the beginning of the year for me.
Mm.
Was getting out. Now I don't do that as much, but yeah, like I mean, I'm kind of chomping at the bit now. The weather's been pretty decent. Um, you know, I'm still waiting for a
When do you
couple of
think
things to
you'll
show up,
play?
but
Yeah.
I would imagine, how, physically, I think
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
my wrists are kind of messed up right now. My shoulders are better. My wrists are a little messed up, and that's kind of some important components of your body. But
Yeah.
um, I'm thinking probably this weekend, depending
Mm.
on the weather. And
Yeah.
Brandon's working. I think he works like 6 to 12 or 6 to 12:30 at
Okay.
Camelot most days, so he's done early.
Yep.
So probably I can see myself getting 9 holes in this weekend.
Yeah, I think
I can see that happening.
probably going to try that too. I had thought, I considered, because I was going to London today. I was like, yeah, maybe I could bring the clubs or whatever. But then I
Yeah.
look at their weather, and it's like severe thunderstorms, damaging winds, isolated tornado, that sort of deal. So I'm like, yeah, not bother. So yeah, I'm probably the weekend too, and I'll
Yeah.
just start out easy, just go for a walk. I might not even carry a full bag of clubs, just go and bat it around. I'm certainly not going to grind it out. It's certainly not going to be a scorecard in my pocket, and I got the pencil to paper and anything like that. That's for sure. So, but I think, part of it, like you said, it's that new equipment. It's different now because I do play, a fair bit of golf indoors in the wintertime, but that's still way different than the outdoor stuff.
Yeah.
It's still that anticipation of, the clubs are clean. I signed up for a tournament on the, flagstick.com PGA of Ottawa Players Tour. I'm signed up for this
Nice.
a spring open. I'm going to play at Camelot on May 26th. So I think that's part of it too. It's kind of like,
Now
you
you
know,
got motivated. You got to
right,
be ready, right? You don't
right,
sign up for a
exactly.
tournament and don't prepare.
Right, exactly.
So
So I think, and I sort of force myself to do that a little bit, just to give myself that sort of, you know, boot in the ass
mhm.
to basically
Oh
say, hey,
yeah,
you know what?
100%.
Go, this gives you some idea. Go practice. Obviously, you're just trying to play as well as you can, so it's like, okay, this is a way to kind of keep your game in shape or whatever. So that's part of it too, and it's planning at that schedule. And I have the added bonus as well to, also to be looking at schedules and stuff with students and qualifiers, and
Yeah.
guys are in the States right now and just finishing up, US Open local qualifying and all that stuff. So you're monitoring that stuff too. But yeah, like you said, it's that time of year when the full excitement's there. So
hmm
yeah, looking forward to what comes next.
I know Brandon got in his he played 9 holes at Metcalf a couple of times now. First one he played in the pouring rain.
Yeah,
Like just went out and
but
played
that's
in the
what kids
pouring, like
do.
absolute pouring rain.
Yeah,
And
they'll
then the
go play
second
in
one was
whatever.
nice. It was a nice night, like one of those nice
See,
evenings.
that would have been us when we were like,
Oh
young. It wouldn't
yeah.
matter. I mean, I
Well,
remember you and I
when I
playing in
was
the snow.
younger,
Yeah.
living in Kingston, when it was
Mhm.
pouring rain, that was the best time because
Oh, sure, nobody's there.
we'd go down to Bell Park
Yeah.
and the aforementioned
Mhm.
uh and we would just
Bell
make up
Park, Bell Park, for anybody who doesn't know,
yes.
is the former municipal golf course in Kingston that closed in 2017, I believe.
Yes, it's
Now,
fully
so
grown
yes,
over now.
yes, it is fully grown over. But Jeff used to play there. I worked there for a little bit, so yes, that's the
And
reference there. It's
we used to make up holes.
yeah,
I
sure, go a little
mean, we
cross
used to
country.
like there's tournaments nowadays at some golf courses at the end of the season they play there like Ironmans or cross countries
Yeah,
where they make up holes. So we used to do that when it was pouring rain, nobody else was down there. So
right.
we'd go to the first tee and we'd play the first hole. And then we'd go up to two tee to the back tee at number two and we'd play from that tee we'd play to the ninth and we played as a par five.
Wow. Okay. All right. That's
And
cool.
then we'd go over to like number two T or sorry, number three T. So we'd go
Par
to number
three,
three
three,
T.
three would have been the par three.
Yeah, and we'd reverse that and we'd play number four from that tee.
Oh,
You had
okay.
to come across
Yeah.
the corner of
Creek.
the creek.
Yeah.
Little whatever. I guess it's Cataraqui Creek, isn't it? Cataraqui
Uh,
River. Well, it was the
Cataraqui
inlet
River. Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's turtles and stuff there now, I think. Or there was.
I don't know what else is there, but anyways, we'll
I
leave it
don't
at
know.
that.
We
But
used
yeah,
to
you're
just play
right.
all over like that, and
Yeah.
those were the greatest times when you were a kid and you're just like
Sure.
going and playing and doing whatever. Now,
Yeah.
Brandon had a
That's harder
chance
and
to
harder
new,
to do.
yeah, Brandon had a chance to use his new irons, and
Okay.
to get that out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
They were good. He loved them,
Sure.
solid.
Good.
So I'm just waiting for some stuff to show up as well, and I'm
Yeah.
kind of excited about the new driver. See how that performs.
I don't have any additions to my bag this year. I mean,
I know.
I'll replace my wedge, and I know later on in the year, there'll be some new irons that are possibly popping up from the in the clubs that I play. But yeah, I mean, I added a 7-wood
You can
last year,
mention
and
that you play Titleist, it's
that's
okay.
fine. We'll do that. So,
I do have a Strixon driver coming as well as a couple of other
oh,
Strixon things.
nice.
I've been playing with them for quite a while now, and I do like
Yeah.
them. And it's always nice to get. I've heard very good things about the new woods,
Yep.
and I've looked at them, have not hit them, so I'm very excited to get a chance to hit them. I like
Yeah.
this previous rendition that I was using, and I'm looking forward
Yep.
to this one.
Yep.
Um, but
Yeah.
yeah,
So
no,
it's fun.
yeah, those are the things
It's
that we
still
get
that part of it.
excited about,
Yeah, I think
So
so. Yeah.
for me, it's the little things. Seeing friends and court. I don't. I mean, I'm always excited to see people at the golf course. But that's not my
Yeah.
motivation.
Yeah.
So yeah, it should be
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, I like seeing, when people are coming home and stuff too, running into players. I ran into Carly Mayer, just came home. I just
Hmm.
saw her the other day. She just committed to USF, South Florida, just running into other players. Again, same type of thing. So it sort of adds to it. Yeah, you like to have those conversations. So
Yeah.
yeah, great part of golf.
Now,
So
listen,
yeah,
golf is full of some interesting things. Um, traumas. I
traumas.
suppose. Golf traumas, nightmares. We've all done. Look at.
We've all
We're
had
all
them. All had
humans,
them.
and we
Yes.
have all had situations on the golf course that, if we could take it back
Oh
and
my.
take a mulligan, which a lot of us do, take far too many mulligans. But it is our nature to, drop and redo.
It's
Some of us
golf.
can't.
We're messy.
We are
We're
messy.
messy.
Arya Jatanagarn
Yeah,
had, and this is kind of, I guess, what sort of sparked the whole golf
it
nightmare
did.
discussion. But Arya Jatanagarn whiffed a chip
Yeah.
on the 72nd hole, made a bogey, and lost in a five-way playoff at the Chevron. And the Chevron, just so you know, the Chevron's a major.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
That's a big one,
And that
especially
used to be the
since
Dinah Shore, didn't it?
yeah, and then
Yeah.
became the NA. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Jump in the
And
pond deal there.
yeah, and we haven't seen Arya really contend a lot,
No,
of
been a
late.
while.
So for her to be back in the mix, and I didn't see this live, I saw it afterwards, and it just gave me the heebie-jeebies after I saw it. She's behind the green, and you see her, and there were some great shots online where it was an overhead shot from the stands, and you just see her go, and the club goes into the ground, and the ball goes nowhere, and you're just like, oh my word. And then once I realized the whole situation, the fact that she had made a bogey there on that a hole, and it's like, oh man. And then she goes on. Now she's in a playoff where she could have clearly just made the par, and she would have won it. But it just got me thinking, like, flashbacks right away of nightmares, and thinking about that, because we witnessed lots too. I mean, I've been in lots of situations, and I know you have as well, from a media side of it, of watching tournaments and watching nightmares. Like, I clearly remember a young man making a 9 on the final hole at the Ontario Junior Championship at Wildfire the one year. He was up by a ton,
Hmm.
and he ended up losing the title. And he was 5 to get on the green, and he 4-putted. And he
Wow.
snipes it off the tee, gets in the weeds, because I was there trying to look for the ball with everyone else. And then we're thinking, oh, once you get out of the grass, he's perfectly fine. He gets it on the green, and he 4-putts, and he loses. And I felt even worse because, the young man who ended up winning, who was, in line to win the juvenile title, was who we know well, Brad Revell.
Hmm.
I still remember, he was there with his mom, and this is this was the first of his Ontario Junior Championships that he won. And I remember Brad saying to me, like, what do I say? Like, he's worried about the speech, because he's like,
Hmm.
he's sensitive to the fact that this other kid just all of a sudden makes a 9. And and I ended up interviewing him years later. I didn't interview him at that time. I ended up
Yeah.
telling some other media people just leave him alone, because there's no point in having a discussion with him at that point. And he told me years later that he cried all the way home to Waterloo at that point. And the reason I interviewed him years later is he was on the Canadian tour at that point,
Hmm.
and he was on the alternate list to get into the tournament that was going to be at Wildfire.
Oh,
So I went back to chat with him and kind of relive that situation. Unfortunately, he didn't get into the tournament, but that one always sticks with me. And again, it's like seeing those, it's just like, yeah, you could have made that 9 some other time during the tournament, but it just depends. It's the circumstance of when it comes down
yeah.
to
It's
it.
the
So
timing of it.
right,
It's there's a lot of things that go into a round of golf
yeah,
that lead to a final score, and if they
right,
happen on the front 9, and then
mm,
you make a par or birdie on the 18th hole and lose the tournament,
yeah,
you don't really you look back and say, well, if I hadn't made that 9 on number 5,
yeah.
but when you make the 9 on number 18,
Well, what if Rory it wasn't double on one, and all of a sudden he made the double on 18 and went to a
mhm,
playoff?
yeah,
Or there could be lots of. I mean, for when we talk about this, I mean, is there one that kind of pops in your mind that maybe you've had, or
a
something
golf
that you
nightmare.
actually thought about?
Come
Yeah,
on, oh my God, man.
just
There's been
one,
there's
just
been
one.
more than there's been
I've
more
I've
than
had a couple.
look at the one probably the most memorable um golf nightmare mess up that I have had memorably
Was I caddying?
is the 18th hole at Pebble Beach. The 18th
Pebble
hole
Beach.
at
Wow.
yeah, I was there. The 18th hole at Pinehurst, and
Oh.
standing on the front edge of that green, there are a slew of people on the
This is
patios.
this is number two. People
Yeah,
should
Pinehurst
know.
number 2. Slew of
Yeah.
people on the patio having some cocktails in their suits and their brandies and smoking their cigars. And Scott and I are approaching, and I'm chipping from the front edge of the green, probably in the same vicinity as Payne Stewart made his putt from there down that front area, and I shanked the chip.
You did.
I hosel rocketed that bad boy. Now, if I got up and down from the next one,
Yes, you
but
did.
that doesn't matter
Yeah.
because it's irrelevant. Now, had I chipped in the next one, maybe I would have got claps. I didn't get claps for getting up and down after a shank, but it was like there's a
You got
lot
a
of
lot of
murmuring.
silence. You got a
The
lot of
murmur
silence.
on yeah, the murmuring on the patio where everybody's kind of chatting. All you hear is that you don't hear the conversation. You just hear the murmuring of conversation.
Yeah.
And then that happens, and the murmuring completely stops, and it's just like,
Yeah. And people are like,
and
oh,
they're like, "What did we just witness?"
yeah.
And then you're gonna just kind of head down, walk into the next shot. You chip that one up, make the putt, and you're like, "Yeah, I could have got up and down for par on
Yeah.
18 at number 2, but instead, I'm getting up and down for
Yeah.
other scores."
I think for me, I mean, I think when you go to qualify for the PGA and you have to shoot a number, that was the one that was rough on me.
Yeah,
Just because you come down, and I got through, but the particular event where I got through in the end was our Flagstick Open, and
yeah,
I had lots of strokes to play with on that last hole,
and you used
but
them.
it's just like, yeah, and I just made a bogey, and I still had 3 to give or whatever. But it was like when you come down there and you're playing that hole, and it's all you can think about is the circumstances on the other side of it. And
Hmm.
you're now playing a golf hole that it's a par 5, and you're hitting 4-iron off the tee, and
Yeah,
7-iron for approach and a wedge, and you're so defensive, and you're worried about it by so much. So it's a scenario where you're just hoping not to screw up. Thankfully that
hmm,
was fine. But yeah, but when you realize that the top players in the world have whiffs, they top shots, they
absolutely.
everything sort of happens. It doesn't ease the embarrassment of when something happens.
No.
But yeah, I can remember playing a tournament where I topped a tee-ball. It's happened.
100%. Well, Jordan
um
Spieth at the Masters dunks it in the
oh
water
yeah,
on 12 and then lays sod on the
yeah, yeah,
drop shot.
yeah. Doesn't make it
I
any
mean,
easier, that's
no,
for sure. But people have to realize that things happen, and we play in a game that the margins are so small,
Yes.
that as a result of it, we're going to see some wild things. Zach Johnson hitting off the toe at the Masters and going, so it's not just the high handicappers that it happens, but I think unfortunately it's the situations that make it more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And I would suggest that anybody has this, you have to handle it sort of like Arya did. You just sort of just laugh it off and say that's part of the game, and just away you go. Because I think if you kind of obsess on it, then you're gonna basically hurt yourself going forward for what you're
Big
going to
time.
try to do. So yeah, I'd say, but anyways, yeah, it was
All right.
interesting topic for sure. So
All right, we're going to push a little bit of this conversation into the
yeah,
back nine because that's just we can do that, and we got lots of good stuff to talk about. So
definitely.
let's just move the rest of this chat into the back nine, and we'll get out for a quick break. But when we come back, we're going to talk about some challenges, and we're also going to talk about golf customer service. It's kind of an
Yep.
interesting topic. So you are listening and watching the Flagstick podcast with Jeff Bonner and Scott McLeod. Stick around; we will be right back.
Hey, loser buys the first round. You're on.
On Prince Edward Island, we believe in playing your game your way. From the first tee box to the 19th hole and beyond. With over 400 fairways waiting for you, there's always another reason to golf Prince Edward Island.
All right, welcome back to the Flagstick podcast with myself, Jeff Bonner, and Scott McLeod. So we have a little pushover from the front nine. We wanted to we get talking, and sometimes the list that we have of things that we want to sort of focus on just kind of goes by the wayside, and we
That's all good.
whatever. I mean, we're all here to here to have fun, chat some golf. If we get through everything on the list of things we want to talk about, fine. If we don't, well then there's
We got
always another show.
There's always another show. Exactly.
But let's get into it. The back nine here on the podcast, presented by Celtic Golf Center, with two awesome locations: one in Kempville, and the brand new location in Kingston. Both featuring multiple state-of-the-art TrackMan sims. Your golf season never has to end. Enjoy a round of golf with friends. Join one of the many leagues. Get fit for some new equipment, or take a lesson. Celtic Golf Center's got you covered because it really is all about the golf. Visit CelticGolfCenter.com to learn more, book tee times, sign up for a league. And we should also note that there has been some posting on social media, so I'm not afraid to put this out there.
Nope.
That Celtic Golf Center is in the construction phases of a third location.
They are.
So that should make golfers in the West End a little happy.
Yeah, Carlton Place.
So, congratulations to Andy. I know he's on a massive tear here of Celtic Golf Center's expansion. This could be like the multinational conglomerate of
I don't know about
I don't know
that,
if he's got I don't know if he's got the energy to keep doing more and more and more, but boy, he seems to have found the energy to do it right now. So yeah, third location opening up in Carlton Place at some point. We'll find out the details of that, obviously, and but hey, another great location to shoot tips at.
There you go. Just got the whole city surrounded.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and yeah, of course, you can check out those tips on the Flagstick Academy, presented by Celtic Golf Center, right now on the YouTube channel and on flagstick.com. New ones released every single week, so check those out. All right. Pulling forward part of the conversation from the front nine into the back nine, we're going to talk about golf challenges. Now, when we talk about golf challenges, we're not talking about, how to tie your shoes or, what color of shirt to wear with the orange hat that you have.
Just how to get down the first fairway.
Yeah, we're talking about challenges as in the challenges on the golf course that you can create. Different types of games that you can play. To kind of keep things. I mean, it's not hard to keep golf interesting. Golf keeps things interesting on its own.
It does.
But there's all kinds of cool little ways that you can spice up your round with your buddies. You spice up your men's nights a little bit. Do something. Some things a little different. And so we've kind of compiled a little bit of a um, a little bit of a short list of things that you could do
Yeah.
that are golf related challenges to
Now I
that.
know you did. I'm trying to think. We
What
did
did
the
I
one.
did? What did I
We did
did?
the one in the dark the one time. Did we
Oh
not
yeah,
do
we
that?
did the that
Kicker
was
one.
back when the kicker one that
Yeah,
James Lepp
James
and
Lab,
yeah,
and not only it was not only golf at night, but
that was crazy.
they had a particular hole that was on there.
Don't do it like that.
No, that was a speed hole. So we'll
Yes.
get to that one in particular, whatever. But I was trying to think back when this sort of came up because someone was talking about the longest day of golf, which,
Mm-hmm.
it's sort of become a traditional one. You'll see a lot of fundraisers and things around it where people on, June 21st, the longest day of the year as far as daylight is concerned, and they might do a challenge where they play golf all day and stuff like this. And so one person was sort of asking about that, talking about it, and said, "Hey, have you ever done one of these?" So I had to start thinking about it, and then started thinking about other challenges or whatever. Now we did that one. I remember one at Morrisburg. Remember this one, the world's fastest round of
Yes.
golf,
Yes.
and I was able to participate in that one where they tried to basically do a relay around the golf course. That was one of
Yeah.
the topic, and set a Guinness World Record. Fell just short, but it was just short, but it was fun to do. And then the only other one I think I participated in was I caddied for Andrew Fazakali and Ed Goodfellow when they played
Oh,
at
right.
Rivendell, and they ended up raising $1 million in 3 years. And they did a challenge where they played golf all day and all night. And the first year I went and just sort of watched, hung out, whatever. And then I volunteered to caddy. And so I did that for 2 years with them. And it was about 10, I think it was about 10 rounds of golf walking.
Yeah. And
It
there was
was
10 days of sleep afterwards.
oh, it was, man, sore feet, whatever. But I think one of the ones that I sort of think about and every year is because we played a little bit when we've gone on road trips and stuff where
Mm-hmm.
we've gotten in 36 holes, or I can remember when we were in Michigan where I think we played 36, and then there was the little short course in behind us at Lakewood Shores, and then
Yep.
we played a bunch more holes on there. And I've always thought that I still want to do a 54 hole thing one day, just for fun, just to
Yeah.
say I did it, to be exhausted or whatever. But do you remember kind of participating in any particular ones, or is there ones that you think you'd like to do before we sort of talk about some different
No,
ones?
I've never done. I never did the I never did any of those 100 holes of golf thing. I've never done one of those as many holes that you can play in a day from sun up to sundown. Um,
Yeah, oh,
you
I know
know,
which one you did though. You
I did the
you did
kicker
the
one.
Yeah, but you also did the one where you basically, and it is a challenge in a certain way. You would go out and hit tee shots on the par three during
Oh,
the one
yes.
event. Remember, and you had the
Yeah.
hole in one. You did it with
Yeah. Well, I
You
used
did
to
it with
do that all the
Hickory.
time. It used to be a
Yeah,
beat the publisher thing. I used to
but
do it at the
again,
Metcalf Charity Classic.
but that still falls within this
Yeah.
category. I mean, we always think of it as sort of duration or time sort of things, which tends to be the way that people sort of characterize a lot of these challenges or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's lots of different ways that you can do challenges. So
I mean,
that
I
was
like I
definitely
like some of this stuff, like speed holes are fun and stuff. I think more of the types of games that you can, the types of rounds that you can play, where it's just where you don't have to modify what everybody else is doing.
right.
If you play like a speed hole or something like that, well, then all of a
It
sudden,
affects everyone
it
else.
affects everybody else in the golf course. Um, if you do some kind of you're playing scrambles and stuff, like the basic stuff, but I mean, you know, playing like a beat the clock or a shot clock,
Mm.
where you have a certain amount of time to complete, everything, and everybody's got to complete their shots within a certain time limit, and that
That could be a fun experiment at
well,
a
yeah, and
golf
if you don't
course,
do it,
right?
you get penalized.
Yeah.
The multi-course one, the idea of playing 9 holes at as many different golf courses. I think I talked a while ago, and maybe at some point, maybe I will
Yeah,
do this. I'm
we
not
talked
getting
a
here. I've
little bit
talked
about
about
it. Yeah.
doing playing a hole, and this would be
Right.
for a charity thing
Yeah.
within Eastern Ontario. It's 18 holes on 18 courses
Whoa, man.
in 18 hours.
Ooh.
So you've got 18
That's
hours
interesting.
to complete one hole
Right.
on 18 different golf courses.
I like that.
Um, Now that would be not something that you and your buddies decide to go and do because
It's
but for us to do something like that, a charity type thing where we start it, we plan it. You'd have to plan everything out to a T. You have
yeah,
to arrange with all the golf courses that this
it's
is
the travel, right?
yeah. So you're gonna play, and then you're gonna drive here to this golf course. You're gonna get out, grab your clubs, get a cart. It's going to be ready for you. You're going to be communicating with the golf courses as you're arriving because everything's got to happen like down
Right.
to the very second so that you can get those 18 holes in.
I actually like that one a little bit better than even the 9-hole ones.
I wonder
because
if that would be a Guinness Book of World Record thing.
yeah, but whether it is or not, but I mean, it's playing
18 holes in
18 different
on
golf
18
courses.
different golf courses.
I think it would be easier to get that in than the 9 holes at as many courses as possible because I've witnessed the golf PEI one. I've witnessed the one Sam McPhail and Ben King have done for a couple of years down in PEI where 6-7 different golf courses, and it's difficult because you go down there and you're trying to play 9 holes as quickly as you can. You have to play through a lot of groups to do that. Whereas if you're doing one hole, you could get to the course, find the one hole that was somewhat
and you set it up like
open.
it's the 18 holes is set up like an 18-hole golf course. So it's not like you play a par 4 18 times. It's like, okay, I'm playing a par 5, I'm playing a par 4, I'm playing par 3. You work up your set par 71, par 72.
Yeah.
And you try to, and then
that might put a little bit more of a restriction though on it where you don't have as much flexibility. Like whereas if you get there and you kind of see what hole is kind of sort of open, maybe it's free or whatever, and you can do that. I guess it really, I guess I like that thought. I like the notion of it, but it's just like, okay, how can we get around to 18 ones? If we have to wait for that particular hole to be open or whatever, that might be more difficult. But
I guess that's part of the planning process is you shouldn't, if you're going to do something like that big in the region for charity, then the hole's open.
Yeah, but that's
I mean, like you're planned out far enough in advance that you're coming. Like the whatever group is on that hole just moves to the side. You play through, finish the hole, and then everybody moves on. Like it would have to be done that way. It wouldn't because you wouldn't be able to predict that a hole is going to be open. So you kind of have to say, okay, this is the hole we're playing. Cart's in the parking lot. We pull up to the clubhouse, jump out, throw the cart on the bag on the back of the cart, drive out, film, the video's going, play the hole, putt out, wave to the crowd, get in the cart, drive back to the car, throw the clubs back in the back, and you're off to the next golf course. Now you'd have to, you do it planning. So, what's the region that you're starting? How far away you're starting? Because you're going to work your way
can't go very far. I don't think. No, because even if you think about daylight, I mean, even if you're able to start at 5:30,
yeah. Well, let's say you start your starting point. Let's say you're starting at Equinell, and you're going from Equinell. The next golf course that you're going to hit is, maybe it's Rideau Glen.
Rideau Glen, yeah. But I think
then you kind of have to plan it all out so that you still have to hit as much of the region as possible because you want to spread it out as much as you can. But you can't be going to Cornwall.
No, that's exactly.
You got to keep it close. Maybe you're at Camelot, you're at the Hunt, you're at Equinell, you're at.
I think you got to find a region.
Bridge,
you got to find 18 golf courses that are in close proximity to each other.
Yeah, so that when you plan out the drive, when you map it all out, just to drive it, it is X number of minutes, and then you figure out it's how much it is to play each hole. And then the ins and outs, like you got to plan it all out and then figure out, okay, well, it better be a really nice sunny day because you need a day like today where you get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, you're heading out to the golf course and your tee's going in the ground at daylight. It's got to be daylight early, and you've got to, that in the heart of the summer, you're going to, June 21st, you're going to get, 9 o'clock before you can't really play anymore. But if not if it's not a nice day.
No,
it's a cloudy, overcast, crappy day.
Yeah,
your daylight's going to end. But anyway, man, we just burned a lot of time talking about
that's that. Okay. I think it's great because I think when we talk about challenges,
there you go. Should I do it?
Yeah,
good listeners, good viewers. Should I do it? 18 holes at 18 golf courses in 18 hours for charity.
That could be fun.
I'm 54 years old. I can do
55. It. Come on.
55, 54. I can do it.
And we're karting, though. We're not walking.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're gonna drive. I'm gonna hit because I'm not gonna drive and hit. I got to protect my arms.
Right.
So yeah. So should I do it?
Interesting.
18 holes at 18 golf courses in 18 hours for charity.
Yeah.
I could do it.
Okay.
To be discussed.
All right.
Um,
I like it.
what else, Scott? Well, we talked about the idea of doing a cross country, and I mentioned about when it
Yes.
was pouring rain. But
Yep.
there's other things like there's cross countries that you can do, but you have
Mhm.
to have the whole course. It has to be more of a tournament situation because
Yeah, I think so.
Ironman, um, Ironman tournaments, where it's basically, um,
That's basically what I did with those guys, where it was
yeah,
as many holes as possible. Um, yeah, I mean that's part of it. You can have some fun stuff as far as, like you said, beat the clock. You can do some relays, alternate shot stuff, lefty righties, where you play opposite hand.
that'd be fun.
Multiple tee challenges. We used to do that one at Glen Lawrence, where
Yeah,
you basically did it was called a red, white, blue tournament, and you paired up, and they paired up a low handicapper with a high handicapper, and it was a net event, and then you basically played the golf course off back tees on the one hole, mid tees on the next hole, short tees on the next hole, all the way across.
yeah,
You could do a short tee challenge. Obviously we've talked about the Bryson DeChambeau break 50. Everybody plays
yeah.
off the
That's a
forward
great.
tees. That's a fun way to go about it. And I
Yeah.
don't think a lot of people mix it up enough. I think a lot of people, if you looked on their Golf Canada handicap, they would probably see that their record, they play off the same tees all the time. And that opportunity, and I don't care where I play off of, and you're the same. We'll go and play
Mhm.
wherever, and sometimes if we're playing a quick round, it's like, why are we going to walk back there? Let's just hit off these tees. It doesn't really matter. It's like you're playing the hole. So I
What's
think
that?
those type of things, would be fun as well. So,
Yeah, I mean, we talk about these different types of games and stuff that you can play,
mhm.
and why do it? I mean, this is the people get hung up on 18 holes of golf.
What
My
golf
score,
is.
putting it
Yeah.
into the system, counting my
Yeah.
strokes, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh my God, like I get it, and all these apps and stuff that are out there for people to track the different aspects of their game, and
Mhm.
and that's all well and good, but
Sure.
you know, uh,
Golf's more than that. It
God,
can
there's
be more than
so
that.
much more than that. I mean, we just
Yeah.
we just banged off probably half a dozen or more
Easily.
different types of games that you can play within your round, within your group, that are
Yeah.
different, enjoyable. I mean,
Yeah.
even the simplest thing is your group going out and playing a scramble.
Yeah.
Like just that's the simplest thing.
Yeah,
Or
for fun, not for a tournament,
yeah,
but
yeah.
just
Or
for
split
kicks. So,
yourselves into two and do an alternate shot with each other. You want to challenge yourself?
mm,
You want to challenge yourself in a round of golf with your four buddies that you all go out and play, and you're putting the nickels on the line.
yeah,
Split into two teams of two in that
yeah,
foursome and play a pure alternate shot.
or worse ball.
Yeah, like there you go. There's another one. I mean,
Yeah,
they're so simple,
it's
and everybody
endless.
knows about these things.
It
But
does.
you
Well,
know,
yes, we say that,
but
but
maybe
we
they
got to
don't.
remember we do have a lot of new golfers that have come to the
Yeah,
game in the last 5 years. So,
yeah,
when they get introduced to golf, they think of it as a traditional forum, and that's what they get presented as.
yeah.
And they think, hey, we play 18, we do this, we do this. They may not realize or understand that there's a lot of opportunities for variations within the game that can be much more fun. And I think within that too, this is where, when people are beginning golfers and getting into the game and they get stuck with the daunting 18 hole challenge, and we've
Hmm.
talked about that a fair bit. This is when, like we played match play a lot.
Yeah.
We're on a road trip and we're just trying to get through a round quick. We're trying to see a golf course or whatever.
Can't
We're not gonna,
can't play stroke play when you're doing that kind of stuff. It's
no,
too tedious.
yeah, so it's like, okay, let's just play match play. When we're done the hole, we're done the hole, and we kind of move on. Because a lot of those times we'd be in situations where, maybe it's
Two a
the end of,
days.
yeah, 2 days, end of the day, or we're out for the first time or something like that. There's nobody in front of us and we want to get it done. There's no sense in grinding out every single stroke. We're not using these scores for handicaps for net stuff or whatever. That's not the whole situation. But again, it's realizing that golf is a palette that has a lot of different shapes to it, and you can do a lot of things with it. So it doesn't have to be one thing. So.
All right, you know what? Let's leave that topic there, and we'll kind of dip our toe in the next topic a little bit. And we're definitely not going to get through all of this one because it's a pretty big topic. But we're going to talk about golf customer service.
Yeah.
Now, what we're talking about is we're not talking about golf shops. We're not talking about going to the golf store, customer service. We're talking about golf customer service, particularly at a golf course. Like, what's the bare minimum that you expect when you show up for a round of golf at a golf course? What's the bare minimum of level of customer service do you expect when you go there? And does it depend on what you're paying for the green fee? And if it does, should it? You know, is that an area that the golf courses that don't charge as much for a green fee are missing out on? If they're not taking their level of customer service to another height, and therefore are not setting themselves apart beyond the cost of their golf.
And this emanated again from a discussion with somebody that just came to golf, and they looked at golf as a business strictly. They didn't look at it with the traditional conventions of growing up around the game and here's our expectations for what it is. And we were just having a discussion on, you know, levels of service, and they were applauding the level of attention that had been given by one course, and they were kind of dismissive. You know, they wondered, you know, they were upset by how dismissive the staff had been at another. Now, they also took into account, you know, that it was a one-time contact with a particular course, so they couldn't say, okay, that's how they always are or whatever. But it began to sort of made me think a little bit more about, you know, do sometimes we get sort of into lulls where you just kind of go and you do the same sort of thing, whereas I know we've been to some golf courses in some places, and as I said, it's not always tied to what the green fee is, right? But the level of service is like kind of through the roof. Whereas others that sometimes it's maybe the green fees a lot, and you know, the service is not that great. So you know, we're not going to get to a lot of the points here because there's so many or whatever, but what do you think the kind of the basics are that you would think of when you think of a golf course and kind of like, okay, you know, before I get there, we know that first contact is super important, and people have to realize that we deal with golf courses all the time. We have discussions with owners, managers, so forth, having, you know, doing feedback from a, we'll call it almost a business consulting standpoint of saying, hey, you know what, you know, this is what I'm hearing or whatever. You know, what are the sort of the basics that, you know, of that first impression more than anything?
I think, again, it depends on the golf course, and
we're not trying to rag on anyone here.
No, not at all. Not at all.
We're just it's a generalization discussion.
First and foremost, I like a bag drop. I like the fact that you're drive in, go to the bag drop your clubs at the bag drop, and somebody's there to greet you right away, uniformed up, friendly, smiling, happy to see you, asking you what your tee time is. So like all of that kind of first impression customer service. I know some people don't like that.
Yeah, I know. It puts them under pressure, but let's back that up a bit, because let's put it in the context of what we see even from a marketing standpoint, and that first discussion point, that pre-round, right? Before people get there, you know, golf courses will generally can make an impression of what what they're going to say to the golfer by what they're doing in their marketing. So, you know, that creates this, that's the start of the expectation. If somebody goes in and they're like, I've never heard of this golf course before, and they look at their particular marketing and they're, you know, what is it that's there that draws them in to make a tee time or have some interest in it? What's your opinion as a, you know, as a marketing type guy?
I mean, I think emphasis sometimes is placed too much on the cost. That we focus our attention on come and play here because it's cheap.
Right.
I think value is the number value is the term that you should be focusing on. As a golf course, you should be focusing on, if you are an inexpensive green fee, you should be focusing on the word value, not on the word cheap.
Right.
And but you can't. Here's the thing: you can't base your entire marketing program on the fact that you are a value facility.
Mm.
You have to offer what others offer for to get that to have that value facility in there. Because if
Right.
all you are is let's say you're a
Because
20,
value is about the service, not the
yeah, it's
price.
value
Right.
is the entire package. So when I
Right.
go there and I get when I show up what I get at other golf courses that I pay $100 to play
Mm-hmm.
versus a golf course that I pay $40 to play.
Mm-hmm.
The thought process is $40, I'm going to get $40 worth of golf.
Right.
When if you're looking at it from a value perspective, the value is in getting the $40 round of golf, knowing that yes, the golf course is probably not going to be quite the same level as the $100 golf course,
Mm-hmm.
but the everything else that comes with it, I get that same level of customer service, I get that all of that other stuff comes for $40.
Right. Yeah.
It's the golf course that changes, not everything that leads up to the first tee. That's the sort of
Mm-hmm.
my feeling. Is like you're paying. What are you paying for?
Right.
Are you paying for the golf course?
Mm-hmm.
Is that why you're paying $100 to play there?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you paying for everything, including the golf course? And that's why it's more expensive. So if I go to a $40 golf course, I feel like I should get the same or a very close to the level of customer service
Mm-hmm.
that I would get at the more expensive golf course. I'm just not getting the more expensive golf course. Does that
Right.
make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I think, I think one of the things that I've always loved for golf courses is the ones that make people feel in their marketing and their messaging is that, I aspire to go there for
Yeah.
a particular reason. I become curious about the place because of what their marketing messages and stuff there, and then it comes down to that first impression. What happens when you have your first interaction with the place? Because obviously, if it's negative, and that comes to right down to things like bookings and so forth. How easy is it to kind of make your tee time? How
Yeah.
easy is it
That's
to
a big one.
communicate to the golf course? Because
No roadblocks. I guess that's the thing.
that's a great way to
Like
say
this,
it. The
there can't
roadblocks.
be
Yeah.
roadblocks. There has
Yeah.
to be smooth. I want to book a tee time there. Okay,
Yeah.
I go online.
Mhm.
I go to their website. I choose my tee time. There's an available time. I book that tee time. Yes,
Yeah.
you're probably going to have to put a credit card number in because that's the way things are done nowadays.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I do that, and then I get my confirmation email. Now I've got my
Mhm.
tee time. I'm set,
Yep.
and it
Yep.
was smooth,
Yeah. Yeah.
smooth, smooth, smooth. And
No
then
roadblocks.
there's no
Like.
roadblock. Now I drive there.
Mm-hmm.
Now what? Do
Mm-hmm.
I go there, pull in the parking lot, wonder where I'm supposed to go, get
Mm-hmm.
my stuff out of my bag? Okay, where's the pro shop? Where do I go to?
Mm.
Okay, so there's
Especially,
roadblock number two.
especially for public golf courses.
Yes. So
That's
now
one
there's
thing that,
roadblock number
yeah.
two. I've pulled
Yep.
in the parking lot. I've parked my car. There's no bag drop. This
Yep.
is where the bag drop helps because
Mm-hmm.
you drive to the bag drop. That's boom. Sign saying bag drop. Please
Yep.
proceed to bag drop. Now you go to the bag drop and someone helps you with your
You've got
bag and
to
stuff.
You've got a starting point.
Now I
Right?
can say,
Yeah.
okay, sir, blah, blah, blah. Pro shop's over there. You can check in
Yes.
there
Yeah.
and set
Yeah.
yourself up, figure it
Yeah.
if you're taking a cart or not today. And
Yeah.
so now you've got that communication point. Now it's like, boom, go, 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 go.
How many times over the years have you pulled into a golf course? And we should say, I mean, there's 800 plus golf courses in Ontario, and I think personally, I can say I've probably been to like 500 of them. So but but we can look at that. How many times have we walked into a golf course and in the States or whatever, and you park the car and then walk up and you're like, where do I go?
Yeah.
Where do I-
Too many to name.
Yeah, and you're like, because you look at the building and maybe it's not very clear from the design of the building.
Mhm.
Where's the approach? It's kind of like going to somebody's house and knowing, do I go in the front door or go in the side door? So it's the same for the golf course. So any type of issue like that, where all of a sudden somebody feels uncomfortable, because that's what it is. If
That's
you
a
feel
negative.
you feel that within your body, all of a sudden you feel like, ooh, what's going on? Where's, I feel some doubt or whatever, as opposed to like, oh, that's clear, that's easy. Like you said, roadblocks, no roadblocks. As soon as you start to feel
Yeah.
that there's any of those are tick negative, tick negative, tick negative. And I
So-
think I think very often we don't see golf courses from the eyes of somebody who hasn't been there before. So if you're at a facility, it's very easy just to say, well, I know where it is, and I know where it is, and I know where it is, as opposed to someone that's coming there with fresh eyes and going, wow, I'm lost.
If you if you get past roadblock number 1, which is the parking lot,
Yeah.
and you get to the pro shop or the clubhouse where you go to the pro shop to pay your green fee and check in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, roadblock number 3, we'll call it, is I've paid my green fee. I've got my cart key or whatever. Now,
Okay.
does the pro shop person say something to the effect, you're all checked in, sir. Golf carts are out here to the left. Scorecards right in front of you on the counter. Grab a card, grab a pencil, help yourself to some complimentary ball marks and tees. The first tee for you is going to be down the cart path and to the right. You'll see a starter there. If I'm not getting that, if the
If you
next thing
have
that
to
comes
ask for that,
if the next thing that comes is, okay, you're all set, have a good day, and then you
Yeah.
walk out of the pro shop, or I have to then turn and say, okay, now where do I go to get my cart? Where's the first tee? Where do we keep the scorecards? If I have to ask all those questions, now my experience level is just dropped.
Yeah, because the same thing happens.
Have to be like, this is as much as, God, we're going to run out of time here.
That's fine.
This
we
is
can,
as much.
we can carry this on another week.
This is as much as when you go to, say, Foodland here in Ottawa to get groceries, and they don't ask you if you have a scene card.
Right.
This is mandatory amongst the cashiers at the cash for them to ask you if you have a scene card. There was a promo years ago where if they didn't ask you for the scene card, that you got X number of dollars off of your order or whatever.
Yeah.
Like this is part because that scene card is like ridiculously important.
And these are the separators for facilities. And
Yes.
like I said, if I go back and I look through the
This
eyes,
is the stuff that doesn't cost you any money.
right, exactly. So if I go back and look at it through the eyes of that person that's new to the game, and they're looking at it, this is what they're looking at, because they're looking at levels of customer service that they're seeing in other businesses, and they're going, as you say, this is what happens as far as from distinguishing yourself, adding value, because the person is having a quality experience. And the thing is eventually they're not going to worry about if it's a few dollars more, because they know, man, I had such a great experience there. I had such a great time. And look, we haven't even got to the golf course yet.
No,
you know what I mean?
Listen,
so, and that's fine.
Lock March.
Yes.
What was the one thing about Lock March that separated it from every other golf course when you pulled in that parking lot? What happened?
So they pulled up right away with their shuttle, and they welcomed you, and they basically took you up to the clubhouse. And while they were doing that, they were usually giving you a little bit of insight, and they took you right up to the top, told you where the pro shop was, and you started your journey from there. So immediately you were at ease, because you didn't have to get out of your car and look around and go, now where do I go? They were there right away, made that happen, started the whole line of communication, the whole line of the process. And you didn't feel any of that doubt, any of that fear. Your heart rate's not spiking up, because we have to realize people are uncomfortable sometimes in these situations. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, okay, where do I go? I feel out of place. You want to feel like you belong there.
That trolley at Lock March became an icon.
It did
in the golf industry in Ottawa. That trolley, the whole expression,
and they're using it in some of their marketing now.
It's a great day at Lock March.
Yeah,
like that whole thing has lasted a lifetime. It's forever ingrained in your brain that when you call, like, it's a great day at Lock March. It's a great day at Lock March. You pull in the parking lot and the trolley comes down the little, so you don't have to walk up that hill to the pro shop. Someone's going to take you right there. They're going to drop you off and say, pro shop's right through those doors, sir or ma'am. You'll be able to check in. They'll be able to get you all set up with your cart and your range balls and all that kind of stuff. Like I know customer service costs money, and these day and age, we're trying to profit. We're trying to make money. It's a business. I get it. We're trying to make money. I understand. But you have to separate yourself from there's in this area alone in Ottawa, and this podcast goes far beyond just Ottawa, but in this area alone in Ottawa, there's 120 plus golf courses. You have to separate yourself somehow. You have to make yourself better in more ways than just the product that you provide. But topic for another show, we will talk about the product itself. What do you need to do to make sure that that product is something that people talk about in a positive way when they leave and not in a negative way. Do I want to see piles of dirt on the side? Do I want to see things under construction all the time? Do I want to see
just everything
in
that's
the
going
fairway,
to
like all of that kind of stuff? That like there's a whole other layer to what we're talking about here.
Yep.
But unfortunately,
we'll save that for
this
another
is a
show.
very deep topic. But guess what? We know what we're talking about next week on the podcast because this is a great topic. We're going to continue this conversation and probably throw a few other things in. But you know what? For this week, I think we're going to have to stop there and tell everybody, enjoy the first rounds of the year. Whatever makes you feel the happiest, get out there. Get on the range, get yourself loosened up, get yourself excited about the season, pack the bag up, shine the clubs, clean up your shoes, put on your best pair of shorts, your best shirt, your best hat, and it doesn't matter if it matches. It's all good. Get a fresh glove on your hand because that's important, and get out to the golf course. That's what we want to see. Let's leave it there for now.
And if you want to play some golf, a golf tournament, sign up for the Flagstick.com shootout.
Yes, the Flagstick Open is full, but the wait list is still, there's a wait list of probably about a dozen people right now. There's a good chance that a good chunk of those people are going to get in. So you can still get yourself on the wait list. There's no obligation. You don't have to pay to be on the wait list. But the Flagstick.com shootout is at Smuggler's Glen. Sign up is wide open, and we're starting to see that fill up. So, get on the list. It's not a closed event to the elite. It's an ABCD division tournament, same as Flagstick Open, just a slightly smaller field. Okay. Well, there we go. We'll leave it at that. Thanks to all our sponsors this week, Metcalf Golf Club, Celtic Golf Center, and our presenting sponsor, of course, Golf PEI. Golf Prince Edward Island is a premier Canadian golf destination boasting the most number of golf courses per capita in the country, with over 400 fairways closer than you can imagine. Top-tier accommodations and exquisite culinary experiences. It is the easiest golf vacation you'll ever book, so book them at golfpei.ca. We do hope that you have been enjoying, watching, hearing what we're laying down for you. Be sure to follow us across all of our social media networks, and we have a lot of them: Instagram, X, TikTok, Facebook. Subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. And do not forget our YouTube channel. Like us and click the notification bell. Make sure that you never miss a single episode of this podcast because they seem to be getting really exciting. Get over to flagstick.com. More amazing golf content published there every single day. And be sure to subscribe to the newsletter, Flagstick Digest. It's free, and free is good, and it brings a host of great information to your inbox 3 times a week. But as always, we appreciate you tuning in. Until next week, I am Jeff Potter.
I'm Scott McLeod.
Always remember, go for the stick.